They have not varied their strategy thus far. Keeping CozQ off that Ahri, expect the Cassiopeia once again, but there's the Urgot ban.
Okay.
There's an adaptation.
I like that adaptation because we already spoke about Woolite and his later game positioning in game 1 normally. This time, however, Urgot not going to be available. Now you're putting him on to a lot squishier a champion, and a lot of the bans have remained the same though. Ahri Cassiopeia Nidalee has been the same out of ROCCAT every single game. We're rushing through the rest of the bans and picks.
Yeah, this time they give Gragas over, and that's an immediate pickup for ROCCAT. Jankos really wanted that one, so they will get a hold of it. Let's see what the Wolves Academy decide to grab on their side with their 2 pickups. Kirei has yet to have a really massive impact in this series. I still like the Sejuani, but that's not what they're going for this time. We've got Elise.
Yeah, oh, okay, it has been locked in. I wasn't quite sure, I didn't quite catch it, but locked in for Kirei. One thing Elise and Kirei do is go hand in hand. It has been 3 games for Kirei on Elise, one of the only junglers in Europe, or even around the world, that has really been picking Elise, and it's purely for catch potential.
Ah, possibly some disengage on top of that one too. They pick up the Braum. Very quick choices from Wolves Academy. They don't reveal too much, just some comfortable picks when their backs are against the wall. We'll see if the Wolves can come out snarling. ROCCAT very quickly take the Maokai and the Lulu again. Let's to see what Woolite goes for this time around though.
Yeah, will it be a later game AD carry? We saw him on Jinx, we saw him on Kog'Maw in the regular season.
They've got the tools for the jugger, either of them.
They have tools, but do they have the toolkit in Woolite's hands? That is the question. Or is he a little bit butterfingers on it today? But at this point, honestly, they could go for a lot here. Wolves Academy, I think, however, are going to focus a lot more heavily on the earlier game. Elise kind of screams that. Sivir now screams that as well. Good mobility on the Wolves Academy. They're looking to build themselves a lead early on, and that's another champion in LeBlanc that's going to get them a lead early on. Question is, what do ROCCAT go for here?
That is, of course, the question. I wouldn't be surprised to try for a more hyper-carrying style. Woolite does prefer the Kog'Maw. He will be in a little bit more danger if he does get caught, and this is a comp that can certainly do it. But again, ROCCAT, they're up 2-0 in fabulous style. Maybe they don't feel they have to fear these Wolves.
Maybe they don't have to, but at the same time, I kind of feel slightly frightful when Woolite locks Kog'Maw, if he locks Kog'Maw. Just because I'm just remembering back to games in the regular season where he was stepped a little too far forward and it is locked in, so there is a lot of protection here out of ROCCAT for that Kog'Maw. It's all on Woolite now. Yeah,
and you know, obviously this is a composition that's going to go a little bit later game by nature, whereas the Wolves Academy, even though they've been pressured heavily in the early game and the mid game, they've got a composition that should do extremely well in that situation. If CozQ can get rolling, CWA can definitely put a score on the board. Well, let's see what they take for their last pickup. They're still looking for Morsu's choice, and it might just be the irelia. It is.
He's not opting for the Fizz this time, going for the irelia. That Fizz game, last game, was his first loss on Fizz in either the LCS or the Challenger Series.
Yeah, 4 matches. That's the first time he's taken a loss on it. That's got to be hard. But this time, the irelia, he's had mixed success on it, but he's definitely, you can't deny he's definitely got a lot of kills with it as well. I mean, he loves to step up and carry. We've seen it, but this is a champion that I feel can do extremely well against some of the swishiers.
It's his most played champion in the regular split for Challenger Series. And, you know, you look at this Wolves Academy composition, again, it's all for picks. It's all for small skirmishes where you can get slight numbers advantage, and a Cocoon, get a LeBlanc in there, get an irelia in behind and blow up a squishy target. The problem is, for Wolves Academy, there aren't going to be too many squishy targets as soon as we get later into the game. Maokai, Gragas, Lulu is going to be able to ult Kog'Maw to keep the Kog'Maw alive, so it's not a Juggermaw composition as such, but there is a lot of protection coming out from ROCCAT for Woolite.
Oh yes, there is indeed. We'll see how they play it this time around. They really haven't needed as much of it before, but for now, that is going to be the end of those pick and ban phase. We're getting into game 3. It is match point. Why don't you guys tell us if you think anything's changed here? Can the Wolves pick up a first win on this stage, or will it be ROCCAT just taking it 3-0?
Will it be ROCCAT re-entering the LCS?
That's what they're eyeballing doing. We'll see what they do here. We're on to the Rift. ROCCAT have to be feeling confident. They go for the Juggermaw this time around. Let's see how they use it.
Yeah, it's not quite. Still, I guess you can. half there. It's like with a Thresh.
Yeah, I mean, they're not putting the Lulu in the bottom, but they've still got the Lulu.
It's not got the Morg and the Janna and maybe, you know, everything else.
But there is definitely a lot of peel.
And a Nunu. There's a whole lot of peel for ROCCAT, and that's going to be very effective at keeping Woolite alive. Will it be undone by Woolite stepping forward, though, is the real question. Morsu and Overpow again top lane, but this time, if we're quiet, the rest of ROCCAT have snuck up to the top side. Morsu might be in for a surprise here if he starts trying to get back to his bush and then finds a Thresh there.
I think his game sense...
Oh, Sapling's pushed him up into the lane.
He's up. He's going to look for Woolite, but Vander is there. There's the Blade Surge. Will he get away, however? No Summoners used just yet, but he is going to have to take a trip to base. Huge hurt put on him to start this game off. Woolite and Overpow and Vander roving around with the help of Jankos at the back. They're actually asking for help up at the top side here. What are they planning?
Still a lot of options out for ROCCAT. And interestingly enough, we've seen kind of the fall-off of these between the tower wards. Now, we know it's being placed. I wonder. ROCCAT kind of want to get, well, they want to get Woolite out of a 2v2 lane against Vizility and Hybrid. So they are looking to try and get themselves in the 2 versus 1 against irelia. However, Wolves Academy are now crossing through the jungle. There's no ward. There's no ward on the red for ROCCAT, but there are wards just by the base gate and the lane, so that's enough to scout out Vizility walking through. However, is Vizility about to check into people from ROCCAT? They move out of the bush. Now they've got to kind of readjust, and they can't get it, but Braum into the middle lane.
Yes, he is. Nukeduck taking a serious hurting as he's forced to immediately burn his flash. Hybrid, Nukeduck rather wasn't expecting Hybrid there. Morsu once again getting chunked out by this ROCCAT team. They're just bullying their way through the jungle.
This is an insane opening to this game. Elise went to the enemy red. Jankos is on the red side red. We had a gank in the middle lane, an attempted gank in the top side. As I said, crazy things happen when the Wolves Academy get themselves into a lane swap. How will it play out in the end is the question. So we've resulted in no flash on Nukeduck. Morsu's used his teleport. Overpow hasn't yet because he's still going with Jankos and he's on the top side of the map. Vizility's actually pushing forward. Is going to be in trouble here if Jankos and Overpow go up there, but Overpow is still only level 1, only has a sapling. So no Twisted Advance available.
There's no vision here. Vizility's going to get blindsided immediately. Spell shields and flashes after he heals. That was an expensive escape, Stress.
Everything used by Vizility just for him pushing up here. And Overpow gets into the 1v1 situation now without having to use anything. He just walked up there.
Yeah. Now ROCCAT and Vander, or Woolite and Vander rather, are going to be in a little bit of trouble themselves. As flash by Vander and a Lantern. Kirei now, he's going to get flayed into tower range as he was exhausted. Not enough damage as he repels away. Morsu still there, still threatening. Gets himself an equilibrium strike. And Woolite feeling pretty confident here as Hybrid now is getting pushed back. The cocoon will land. But in 2v3, Vander and Woolite, they come out on top.
Vander having his Lantern there instead of the hook, just paying complete dividends in that lane. So a little adjustment keeps Woolite alive, and that is going to be the key to this game entirely. Woolite a teeny bit down on CS, but enough minions in front of him for him to start catching back up, and he does draw even against Vizility. However, the 1v1 for Vizility is okay for him, but at the same time, if he's continuing to push forward, Jankos is going to make himself a nuisance up in that top side.
Maybe more than that. There is the spell shield. It's going to wear away. Overpow, arcane smashes. In comes the belly bump, and Vizility, he's got no more summoners. It's only a matter of who gets it. It's Overpow. Woolite now in some trouble, but he takes the express lane out and throws down some puke to cover his escape.
Oh, hook didn't quite land. Here's the teleport.
In. Overpow, he wants to keep fighting this one. Kirei forced to flash. They're going to find Hybrid. I think that only blocks one way. He's going to have to burn another one himself. Copenhagen Wolves Academy, they're just popping summoners left and right. And Overpow gets in there and punishes him. Nearly dies for it, though.
Top and bottom is going from bad to worst from the Wolves Academy. Nice Q out from Overpow as he landed in between 3. Really disrupted Wolves from being able to do anything. The only lane right now that is going in favor of the Wolves Academy is this middle lane. And CozQ on LeBlanc, can he get the work done early on? This is the lane matchup we saw in Game 1. 3rd game in a row for the Lulu, but LeBlanc is coming out ahead in CS already.
Yeah, Yeah, Nukeduck's going to have a lot of opportunity here with the minions under tower, but still, that is a massive differential to have to deal with. CozQ, he could be the savior for Copenhagen Wolves Academy if he can just get in there and grab those kills.
He could be, but it all comes from that first gank out of Braum. They got the flash very early on, put a lot of damage down onto Nukeduck. His flash still a quarter of the way available, so Nukeduck will find himself a little bit of solace as this game goes on and he gets that summoner back available. Woolite has to be careful now. Thresh not with him for a couple of seconds as he goes toward. Hybrid lands a Q, but that is all.
Yeah, we did worry a little bit about Woolite and his potential issues with positioning, but Vander has been there to bail him out time and time again, and the trust level between this AD carry and support is just staggeringly good. The hook, it's going to land on a minion. Hybrid leaps out of the way as they spied Jankos rumbling around the corner. Nothing will come of that one, but it does ease some of the pressure off the ROCCAT bot side. Let's see what Kirei now can get done in this middle. Nukeduck still no flash just yet.
Not 6 yet either, so does not have his ultimate available to keep himself alive. Kirei, can he get the first all-important catch for the Wolves on this Elise?
Well, that might be a very expensive choice of cannon minion, but Jankos is there for the defense. Look at that damage the Gragas is throwing out. Stalker's Blade coming in handy, but he'll walk back into the turret range as he was getting fired upon by CozQ after the fact.
I feel somewhat confident saying that Kirei is the only player we've seen play Elise of the entire of the spring split in Europe. Elise just has fallen off almost completely. Not even in the top 2 tiers of jungle picks. There was so much still available for Wolves Academy. However, Kirei now is half health. You cannot go aggressive onto this Maokai at half health on Elise. He will just stand there now that he's level 6 and take all of your damage. He's going to go aggressive. Nothing to drop down from. What goes up must come down. And Kirei does get himself out, but Kirei is having no luck in the beginning of this game.
No, and this is why a lot of people aren't really picking Elise up right now. There's limited options you can do, even with the Stalker's Blade, trying to get in the enemy's face, but it's just so difficult. Even Nukeduck, as pressured as they were putting on him, he's still able to make his escapes. Now he's level 6. Now he's got his flashback. It's going to be even more difficult. Woolite staying too safe to really get ganked by the spider right here. Yes, Vizility and Hybrid have been doing a decent job at pressuring him back, but he's still picking up even more farm than the Sivir, and you know something's gone wrong in that case. Now we'll see what happens as Jankos moves in onto CozQ.
I mean, Sejuani was available, Rek'Sai was available. I mean, if you're looking for early game, Rek'Sai would fit that criteria. Maybe Kirei just doesn't want to play it after playing it in game 1 and having no success on it at all. And Elise just, it doesn't sit right with me. And I know it's obviously player preference, but when you look at the top tier junglers being available and you don't pick it in a game where you could potentially not be in this series anymore, the final potential game here, I mean, you've got to make this Elise work. We're 8 minutes in. It's had no impact. None
at all, and this is really the troubling thing for them right now. Really not much up on items over Jankos, but again, of the two of them, I'll take the Gragas any day the later the game goes.
Yep.
ROCCAT, they're perfectly happy letting the game go this way. They've got a slight gold lead built up in their favor. That's pretty much all off of farming, but Copenhagen Wolves Academy simply can't execute a thing. Nukeduck forced back, uses his ultimate to try to prevent some of the damage from CozQ, gives himself those extra stats with the wild growth. CozQ still doing quite well here. He's 20 CS up on the Lulu. Kirei still trying to focus and push the advantage where they might have it. Nukeduck, he's got no wild growth now, but he's got a Whimsy, and that'll be enough to get him out of harm's way. Let's see if Kirei can help push down the tower here. Yes, they get the damage, but that just won't cut it.
Yeah, it won't cut it. And we'll have to see whether Kairei's Fangs can cut through the tank line. Yes, she will be dealing % health damage, you know, as we get later on, but she's building towards tank, and that makes you entirely reliant on Elise's base kit damage out of that % damage. So it's all reliant on in human form, its current health. You know, at that point, Kirei will have some damage, but it's very limited. You're not looking towards your jungler for damage in the current meta. You're looking to your jungler for crowd control and the ability to zone away / catch enemies.
Yeah, and that's the strange thing about this Elise pickup. I mean, yes, there was some slight boost. Yes, you're going to be a little bit of a faster spider than you used to, but that hardly merits choosing it over some of these other picks. As you said, it's player preference, but we'll see if this does bite the Copenhagen Wolves in the behind as longer the game goes on. Meanwhile, down in the bot, bit of a push fest. You do see Kirei sneaking his way through the brushes, but Woolite and Vander are nowhere near being taken down. There's the Lantern after the Winter's Bite did connect.
However, the Lantern being down, ooh, top lane gank though.
Yeah, Morsu could be in some trouble himself. 2 beefy bruisers. Morsu, he's going to blaze through. Overpow taking a lot of damage, and that's going to be Morsu actually picking up a kill there. Got to be careful when you corner an irelia. Morsu will be happy with that one.
He will be happy with that one. Picks up a kill in a 1 versus 2. That's why Morsu likes to play these carry top laners. A lot of damage in the mid lane, but bottom.
Might be in the bottom as well. Vander gets blown up just like that. The Wolves Academy have kicked it into high gear as they pick themselves up another kill, this time in the bottom side. So Kirei, he does good work there, but let's see if they can keep it up. That's
what Elise can do. You land the cocoon, you chain the crowd control on one single target, and you get a good amount of damage out. Kirei goes aggressive, goes in towards the tower,
but I don't think
now he's low.
This. Yeah, he's going to flash the auto attack after Woolite flashes. There was no follow-up from the bottom lane of the Wolves here, and it just seemed like Kirei went on a suicide mission, fed the kill over to Woolite. That's absolutely atrocious after what just happened.
I mean, they get the teleport out of Overpow. That's a slight factor, but it's not worth the death at this point. Morsu is able now to push the top lane turret, so he should get some good damage down, but middle lane, again, they're turning their focus to Nukeduck.
Yep, CozQ already a little bit too low to really take anything out of it. Hybrid, though, he's being ganged up on by Jankos, Vander, and Nukeduck have to burn his own flash. Should be able to push in this middle or possibly start looking at that Dragon. ROCCAT, though, still not interested in taking anything they don't have a guaranteed grab of just yet.
Sorcerer's Boots out for Kirei. So again, wanting a little bit of damage coming from the Elise. And I'm not counting the Elise out right now. I mean, there is still utility there. So we have to watch what Kirei does as this game goes further and further on. But CozQ has himself a CS lead in the middle lane. Again, I don't think Nukeduck will be too worried about that. It's been fairly similar the last 2 games, and Nukeduck overall has had a much greater presence in the game, just from being able to, you know, deal damage, keep people alive. That's his real role here.
You don't exactly have to win lane hard as a Lulu, do you?
Exactly. No, you don't. You just have to not lose lane really hard is the other half of it. But Vander aggroes the dragon for the Wolves Academy, but I don't know whether Kirei and Hybrid really want this. Although Jankos is recalling topside. Overpow, they know there's no teleport, so this is a good dragon out for the Wolves Academy.
Yeah, they've got a nice timing window. No response really able to come from ROCCAT. So Copenhagen Wolves Academy will snatch that one up. They teleport back. Morsu rather teleports back up to the top side. Make sure the minions don't go too hard on that one. So the Wolves do get a little bit back here. They're keeping fairly even in the gold game. That extra stat boost they get from Dragon #1 will certainly help them out. Let's see what they can do with it.
Yes, it's going to help them out. Also, just getting dragons against a later game scaling team allows you to kind of push back ROCCAT's ability to, you know, draw Wolves Academy into a late game fight. You don't let ROCCAT quickly get to a 4-dragon situation where the Wolves Academy have to push themselves in towards the dragon pit. So it buys them a little more time later into the game. It's going to help them with the damage overall. So Wolves Academy, this is a lot stronger than they've been in the last couple of games. This is Wolves Academy playing their own game.
And playing to the composition that they do have. They can certainly run away with the mid-game if they start getting picks and picks and picks, but they need to be able to make those plays, and ROCCAT, they're happy to take this one very late if they're allowed to.
Again, though, mid and top are ahead for Wolves Academy, so they're in a decent situation when you look at that.
And there's some scaling on their side, too. They've got an Irelia that, you know, can get out of control if it's allowed.
Yes, if it's allowed. And
so could LeBlanc.
Now forced to flash out in the middle lane. And yeah, LeBlanc. There's still a lot on the Wolves Academy team that is going to be able to compete with ROCCAT for a very long time still. I don't think the timing window is going to shut, especially when Wolves Academy are starting to push turrets like this. This is what they need to do to push ROCCAT further back into their own base.
Yeah, this is already far better than it was last time around, but we'll see if ROCCAT try the same old tricks. Jankos comes on in, knocks Hybrid away, or Hybrid rather hops away after explosive cast was already spent. There comes Glacial Fissure, but it just splits the uprights, and Woolite, he gets the Lantern back to safety. Jankos is able to walk it out on his own 2 feet. And the dive was not too unsafe from ROCCAT. Unsuccessful, however.
They're going to look to even the tower difference between the two. Should be able to get it with 3 people here, but Elise is heading topside. Overpow does have a sapling there, but if Morsu and Elise can get onto Overpow, oh, that turret's still pretty healthy here.
A lot of minion clear.
No minions left. You do not want to dive a Maokai that has his ultimate not quite available, actually. So, I mean, next minion wave, we'll see where the Kirei goes for it, but he is backing away.
Yeah, a bit of a mistiming there.
Yeah.
Kirei, and again, not enough minions for Morsu to really do that, but you do see now Overpow's backing away. He can maybe get this on a second win just of his own accord. Still, 1-to-1 in turrets, very close in the gold game, a mere 200 gold. separating these teams.
Yes, and as that top tower is about to fall, that's just about to get inverted. So at this point, now it's the Wolves Academy with a slight lead. Vander's up in this top side, though, does hook in Morsu.
He runs straight into the hook, and the box is down exhaust. They are committing fully to sending him back to the fountain, and it's Woolite who picks up his second kill, the Kog'Maw. Starting on a roll here. This could be trouble.
Something that ROCCAT have done very well is anytime they give Morsu something, they take from him as well. They make sure that, okay, you can get a turret, we'll kind of put the brakes on Morsu's train. He is still ahead on CS, got a kill, got a tower, doing a decent job here. Woolite's pushed up, does have Thresh still with him there as well, but they don't really need to force this turret right now.
No, and they definitely shouldn't with the likes of CozQ and Kirei moving up to the top side. So the rest of the Wolves will gather up in that side of the map, but ROCCAT have already bailed out, and there really is no need to continue pressing forward. The Woolite's going to just try to clear away the minion waves, but there is an unprotected mid turret here that ROCCAT is looking at hungrily.
They are a little bit hungry for some Wolves, but at this point, ROCCAT can't really force too much. They have to wait for Wolves to step out of position where they're not all together for ROCCAT really to get anything. I don't actually think ROCCAT are even going to chase fights. They shouldn't really, because Jankos now going aggressive. Lots of damage on Vizility.
Man, yes he does, but on the hunt just popped in. Kirei was there. Hybrid now, he's the one getting locked up, and there's a teleport coming in from ROCCAT. That is going to be one dead Braum. The tower is sure to fall as well, and Copenhagen Wolves Academy, they're going to have to back off and lick their wounds for just a minute. Yeah,
Jankos tried to catch out Vizility there, but at that point, Hybrid was the one that was caught out of position. And again, if Wolves Academy are not in a defensive spot here, ROCCAT are looking, or going to look to try and catch somebody out. Morsu's pushing mid. This is a bit of a distraction play here out by the Wolves.
Yep, they are hoping that there's not enough damage on this turret, but it's being pinged out by ROCCAT as Morsu. He should be able to secure this one up. The question is, does he get away? The rest of ROCCAT are making a beeline down for him. He picks it off and heads straight into the jungle, so the play is successful. Morsu on the solo mission grabs himself an inner turret in the middle.
Yeah, so they pick up that inner turret. That's, again, going to help Wolves with this split push. We talked about how ROCCAT getting an inner turret earlier denied the split push. Getting the mid inner this early now really assists the Wolves when it comes to getting Morsu into a side lane, getting Morsu pushing. He's got his teleport available still. All of that was done without using that big utility summoner. And now he's going to look towards the bottom lane.
You said something really interesting earlier about, well, I'll talk about it in a minute, because CozQ's jumping onto Woolite. Not enough damage to polish him off, but he certainly made him regret pushing up a little bit further forward. But more onto Morsu. You said that this is the game that the Copenhagen Wolves Academy wanted to play.
Yeah.
They're perfectly happy to let Morsu just do his thing, let him rip on this Irelia. And boy, has he made a statement here. We'll see if he can grab a kill on top of it. Getting a little help from Hybrid, but Overpow will be flashing away from that one as he turns off his ultimate. Looks like another turret in the sights of Copenhagen Wolves Academy. Kirei there to make sure that no one tries to push in on him very quickly.
Yeah, Morsu gets a little help from his friends and pushes another turret down. Quickly they've escalated now to 4 turrets in favor of the Wolves Academy, and with that Trinity Force completed onto Morsu, that was when the real go signal was for Wolves to start fighting. That is a big power spike. You look at the CS difference between the two as well. Maokai now looking towards that Frozen Heart with that Glacial Shroud as well.
Yeah, this is something Morsu's done over the course of the series, and you mentioned a lot of people look up to him as, you know, a big solo queue hero in the top lane, and it just shows he's able to grab farm and squeeze it out all the time. We'll see
Woolite.
If CozQ can squeeze out a kill here, as Woolite is just caught up. A Cathian surprise is going nowhere. Meanwhile,
he stole it.
The dragon is stolen away as Jankos is yanked back. Hybrid, Kirei trying to force a fight after the fact. Exhaust is on to the spider, though. Will they be able to squish him? Jankos on the underside of the barrel just takes him down as Morsu comes in to try and clean up the fight. Is his mop big enough? I don't think so. As he goes over into the Krug pit, he's taken down by Overpow.
ROCCAT come up huge in that. First they steal the dragon away from the Wolves Academy, and then they take 3 kills for 2. ROCCAT will be super happy with that, especially when that first kill came from Woolite getting 1v1 down by CozQ. Woolite's not on ROCCAT this game. He is going to be very squishy in 1 versus 1. CozQ will look to do that, but honestly, Woolite will say, that's fine as long as the rest of my team are able to fight you, and fight them they certainly did.
Exactly. You take that catch out of the equation, and that fight ended up being a 1-for-3 for ROCCAT, and they steal the dragon as well. Jankos with the quick fingers on that smite, able to pick that one up just in time, and Copenhagen Wolves Academy, they really couldn't do much about that. Let's see how this all happened again. Started with the catch.
So this all comes from the ward being down on this catwalk. Woolite steps forward. No chance there. At this point, already, Wolves Academy had good wards to just control this dragon area, but Jankos just hops himself over the wall, picks up the kill, and Morsu comes in, gets himself a kill, but is it enough? Not really at this point. It's going to help them deny a lot of what ROCCAT want to achieve here in this game, but ROCCAT did enough.
They absolutely did. And 2 kills onto Overpow is not too shabby either. He'll get up to his item spike even quicker now, 3 and 1 and 1 on the tree. Now ROCCAT pushing in this middle turret. It's been a long time coming, but they will grab that one closer to evening up the score. Morsu's still pushing on the side, but I don't think he'll be able to deal with Overpow as easily as he was before.
And at this point, you look at the item prioritization here out of ROCCAT. Double Righteous Glory so far. And now what that says to Wolves Academy is, you have no real solid disengage. You don't have a Janna. You don't have anything. All you're relying on is Braum and Sivir to get yourself out of a fight. We're just going to go double Righteous Glory, get ourselves on top of you, and make sure that you can never run away from us. Overpow's going to go in. They still have those Righteous Glories up.
But they've hooked in Hybrid already and taken him down. You could see the Wolves.
Here we go.
They're still hungry for the turrets, but ROCCAT, there go the Righteous Glories. They just want to chase him down. One already popped, waiting for the second one, and it looks like after on the hunt, Copenhagen Wolves Academy do manage to make it out, but they're one support the poorer right now, and they're not quite out yet. Kirei, explosive cast, surrounded by enemies. He's gonna go up, but will he come down anytime now? Yes, he will. And Overpow smashes him to the ground.
Itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Down comes the grog and stamps the spider out, because that was just Kirei taking the wrong path home there from that one, because ROCCAT right now are in full control once again. They have themselves the lead. Yes, Copenhagen Wolves have got themselves some towers and some objectives around the map, but ROCCAT again, they've put Wolves Academy on the back foot.
Yeah, this is ROCCAT just saying, we absolutely want our LCS spot. You are going to have to fight us tooth and nail and claw for it. At Copenhagen Wolves Academy, they're just not able to do it, but look at what they're trying to do now. They're trying to put more damage onto Kirei. Yeah. I'm not sure I agree with this. The Haunting Guys, he needs to be tankier.
It's not even,
he just got blown up
it's
so easily.
Not even the Haunting Guys. I mean, that Ruby Crystal that we saw, I thought, okay, that's going towards Cinderhole. Take a look. That is blue.
Oh, wow.
That is a Magus enchant on a Stalker's blade.
Completely missed that.
It just looks green. But it is blue. It's the Magus.
But yeah, they're
exactly. Going that's where it went into, and they're just going full glass cannon here. They're saying, if we can't blow you up, this game's already done.
Yeah, at this point, they're just daring now Copenhagen Wolves Academy to try and move in on the Baron. They know that Morsu's there, but he's not got a smite. This shouldn't be too difficult for them to lock it up, and it isn't. Jankos secures his team. The Baron, Copenhagen Wolves Academy. I mean, that makes perfect sense that he was getting popped quite so quickly that way that is. Now they can push with the Baron-empowered minions. Copenhagen Wolves Academy, they're running out of options here, and they're in serious danger of being swept under.
Again, you remove the possibility of LeBlanc coming in through the side, irelia teleporting in behind. Now that you've got that Baron buff, Morsu can't really do too much. If you try and split push against a team that have Baron, you'd better have a very open objective that you're trying to get, otherwise you'll lose far too much the other side of the map. Blade of the Rune King has been completed on irelia, so not even opting for the Randuins, not opting for the Zephyr that we've seen out of Morsu or other irelia players, which is a fairly glass cannon build. This one is purely to try and deal with higher health targets, try and chunk through a lot of what is being bestowed onto Woolite. Is it going to be enough? One ultimate says, hey, we know you're there.
Why face check?
Yeah.
You can just...
Ooh, Woolite, though.
Death from above. Vander's hook is not going to connect. Exhaust is down on Morsu. Will ROCCAT fight this one out? Vander looks to be going down, but the Wild Growth comes out on him. Hybrid now isolated from the team as they pick him off. It's Woolite getting the kill credit. Morsu now running, scared, away from the giant tree, but the Fat Man comes in and smashes him with the barrel. Elise, meanwhile, Kirei is just absolutely off in the middle of nowhere as he bailed out of that fight. ROCCAT looking to push down this inner turret, and there will be no one from the Wolves there to stop them.
This is going to be inhibitor turret as well here. Baroned up minions are about to rejoin a second wave. Will like takes up a little bit. It could be. I feel like Wolves Academy are going to fight over it now. Hybrids back up. Morsu still not available. ROCCAT I wouldn't even call it overstaying here. They're so high on health that it is going to be an inhibitor here as well. Wolves Academy just do not have the damage to fight this.
And they hesitated for just a moment. CozQ trying to aim a few parting shots, but it just tickled this ROCCAT team. Now they can easily rotate up, take this inner turret, I should say, on the top side, baroning up these minions. There is no response just yet. The Dragon's now live. ROCCAT can sweep around the map and do whatever they want this game.
Regardless of what Copenhagen Wolves Academy have tried to do, this game has been identical to the last and to the first of this series. They try and engage here. Woolite is not quite out of position. He's in a vulnerable spot at first. He kites back. Vander chunks or just takes all of the aggro here to begin this fight. And look at the low health bars on Wolves Academy. There has been almost no focus out of ROCCAT in that fight. They've just said, hey, he's right next to me. I'm just going to put damage down onto him. And everybody's half health. Morsu gets dropped at the end of that fight as well. And they just have no survivability on Wolves Academy. Nukeduck now 1v3. Can he get him out?
Not for long. The rest of his team was there. And immediately, Copenhagen Wolves Academy 180 out of that one. But look at this chase here. Vander's got a catch on Hybrid. They can turn their attention to that. Woolite a little bit further behind this time around. Maybe he could get caught by Kirei, but the rest of the team is not going to be anywhere near there in time. Rappel up, trying to pick off Woolite. He goes in. That might be the consolation prize, but he doesn't get it. The Caterpillar is stronger than the Spider. And ROCCAT are just running away with this game, Stress.
It's the full AP Elise, or may as well be, can't 1v1 the squishiest member on ROCCAT. How do you expect to win this game? ROCCAT, they're going to push in for a second inhibitor turret. Morsu is split pushing, but there goes Overpow. He's TPing back. Morsu just can't get anything done.
No, he nearly was able to pick another tower off, but that was just all there was to it with the teleport in. Overpow saves that day. Particularly, they grab another inhibitor here. ROCCAT running away with this game. You said it, and I'll say it again. It's turning into another identical match of the last one. Yes, Copenhagen Wolves Academy had a better early game this time around. They were taking turrets, but it just wasn't enough. And now ROCCAT looking to extend it even further here. Another dragon to their name will give them a few more extra stats to knock those down.
And ROCCAT have not even broken a sweat in this series. There has been little to no competition for ROCCAT in here, and I'm not going to overstate that, you know, when people say how good ROCCAT can be, this has just been ROCCAT just playing the game. This is the basics. This is nothing more than ROCCAT playing as a team. Nukeduck gets caught out, the rest of the team are here already.
Yeah, you know, we talked a lot about this while we were prepping for this matchup, Stress, that ROCCAT is a team that, yes, if anything else, they have the basics down. And Copenhagen Wolves Academy, you would think almost any team that can get to this level of play in the Challenger Series has that, but they just don't always. You see them making these mistakes in champ select, in positioning, in just falling further behind and not grabbing enough, and they do it again. But let's see if they can get work done in this mid. They are looking to pick off some targets. Woolite, half his health gone. Oh, but CozQ is in trouble.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if you got two LeBlancs, we'll take them both, says Nukeduck.
Yeah, Woolite did get chunked a little bit. First, CozQ didn't look like he hit, but another Q followed up. I mean, this is a team that is used to playing the top teams in Europe again and again every week for the last year and a half, 2 years, against a team that are fairly new. When you look at things, this was a team that they said to themselves, we're going to play a lot of Dutch lands, a lot of smaller events, and they found themselves here. They haven't really got the foundation behind them, and it has shown in this series. ROCCAT have just looked so comfortable, and now they're on to the Nexus turrets.
Yes, they are. We'll see, though, if Copenhagen Wolves Academy, regardless of what happens today, Stress, what they can take out of this one, but we'll talk about that in just a minute because their time may be running out here. Nexus turrets being fired down. One's already at half his health as fast as the lasers are going. Jankos puts himself in the front. The Wolves are still starting to melt pretty fast. Overpow tags in for this one, and he picks up a kill. Morsu's down. Woolite staying alive just barely through the Blade of the Rune King. Now it is CozQ. That goes down. A second Nexus turret's fired down. ROCCAT in 29 minutes. Once again, they've made the statement, and they will rejoin the LCS in the summer.
And a very subdued reaction from ROCCAT. They'll say to themselves, let's be honest, that's the result we expected for themselves as a team. You heard the ROCCAT players earlier saying, we can't even believe we're in promotion tournament. The fact of the matter is, that's where they ended up. That looked like an LCS team playing together. not going to talk about where the placement is overall. It was just solid. It was consistent. It was what ROCCAT needed for that series.
Yep, a well-deserved win. This new coach, Yamato Cannon, gives their congrats. The rest of ROCCAT shuffle over to the other side, shake hands with the Copenhagen Wolves Academy. But they have got to be relieved with all of that. It was a nightmare scenario for ROCCAT after the course of this split. It was a what exactly happened with us, and they got themselves back on the ground. They got their feet moving, and they really just took that to the Wolves, as you said, without really breaking a sweat.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at the other side of the coin here for Wolves Academy. You can't overlook the experience that being in a promotion tournament can give you. I mean, to name a few other teams that have found themselves in failed attempts at the promotion tournament, H2K, one of the biggest ones. They failed the first one. When they were Cloud9 Eclipse, they failed another one. Cloud9, the very first time in the North American team, tried to qualify. Now, I'm not going out on a limb to try and say that Wolves Academy could become, you know, the next Cloud9 or anything. What I'm saying is the experience is invaluable. They now need to take this experience and build an even stronger team for the next split of Challenger, because they will retain their Challenger spot, as will Reason Gaming for the summer split of Challenger. But they've got a lot still to put together to come back in the summer.
Precisely. I mean, as much as we talked about how they don't necessarily have the basics, we're stacking this up to a now reminted LCS team. There is a lot that this team can do. They can go very far. I think the expectations were extremely low. No one really had the idea when this team, the Lowland Lions, now the Copenhagen Wolves Academy, came out of the gates and just did everything in their power to tear through the Challenger Series, only being stopped by Origin. And now I really think they've got to give themselves a pat on the back for having made it to this stage. Despite how the results went, they've got a very bright future ahead of them.
Yeah, they have, but when you look at ROCCAT, who now they're back in the LCS, you look, they've now got Yamato Cannon in as a coach. There have been some changes here to ROCCAT's play in the respect that they brought the Urgot out. I mean, they've got
It's a very different play style than what we were used to see, the variety. And yes, they went back to a little bit more basics in that game 3, but honestly, that was a great relieving of tension for them, I think. Yeah,
they've shown variation, which is the beginning of a path to, you know, just building a team that has more than one playstyle of put Woolite on a carry and don't get picked in the late game. Put him on a tanky carry, he can carry through the game. And honestly, even on the Kog'Maw, he was 4-1-6, never really was pressured in that game. I wonder how it would go in the LCS season, but that's something we're going to find out when we get to the summer split.
Absolutely. So with that all done, we're going to step on stage where Pulse is standing by